Quality Analyzer is being provided free of charge to advisors and employers. If you fall into this category and have not yet registered for the service, you can go to www.advisorsoftware.com and complete a simple registration form. Your access will then be granted and confirmation of your password will be sent through to you via a secure email. Quality Analyzer is broken into 4 separate modules: corporate, savings, protection, and software. Users will be granted access to one or more modules according to the selections they made during their registration process. Each module consists of a number of products. On the home page, you can select your specific product by clicking through the relevant module in the left-hand menu bar. Once you've chosen the product you wish to compare, you will then need to select the comparison option from the left-hand menu bar. Clicking the first radio button, New Report, followed by the purple arrow below, will take you through to the first screen whereby you will begin selecting the various product features and functionality that you wish to compare. The first screen displays a list of the high-level areas that each product or proposition is broken down into. In this example, the Auto-Enrolment Comparison tool has 13 high-level areas split across 4 different categories. You will need to select up to a maximum of 10 high-level areas, which will form the basis of your comparison report. Hovering your mouse over the title of each high-level area will bring up a pop-up box which will explain in more detail what that specific area looks at. If you are using a mobile device, you will need to click on the blue information mark. Once you are happy with your selection, clicking the purple button, Continue to weight your priorities, will take you through to the next stage. The next step in the process is to allocate a weighting alongside each of the high-level areas you previously selected. A weighting can be explained as a percentage out of 100. To put this into practice, an area which you consider to be the most important should be allocated a higher weighting, for example 30, whilst the areas you consider less important would be allocated a lower weighting, for example 10. The total weightings for all sections must equate up to 100. You will not be able to proceed until all areas have been allocated a weighting and the totals equate up to 100. If you do make a mistake or are unhappy with your allocations, then you can click the purple reset button below the table and start again. You can also move between the sections by using the Tab key or the Enter key. Once you are happy with your allocated weightings, clicking the purple button, Continue to select providers, will take you through to the next stage. The next stage of the process requires you to select the providers whom you wish to compare. In this example, for the Auto-Enrolment tool, we have segregated the providers into 3 separate sections: benefit consultants and IFAs, software providers, or life and pension providers. You can either select all providers by clicking the box above the table, select a particular type of provider by ticking the box at the top of each individual column, or alternatively individually selecting those providers whom you wish to compare across all 3 columns. To deselect a group or individual provider, you'll need to re-tick the box alongside their name, or alternatively select the reset button at the bottom left-hand side of the table. After clicking Continue to view your selection, the comparison will play back to you a summary of the high-level areas you selected, the weightings you applied, as well as the providers you chose to compare against. At this stage, it is possible to go back a step and refine either of your selections. Clicking on the Refine Sections button will allow you to edit your existing weightings, as well as add or remove high-level areas. Clicking on the Refine Providers button will allow you to add or remove providers as you wish. In this example, I'll go back and add an additional high-level area into our comparison criteria. The weightings will need to be readjusted in order to account for the additional high-level area. Again, it is important to remember that the total weightings need to add up to 100. Once you are happy with your amendments, clicking the purple Submit button at the bottom of the table will take you back to the initial page, which will once again play back to you a summary of your realigned selections. The purple Note button alongside each of the high-level areas allows you to enter in comments around why that specific high-level area was selected, or the reasoning behind why that particular weighting was applied. For those advisors sitting in front of their clients, this can be a particularly useful tool, as it can create an audit trail recording their conversations with their client and the reasoning behind each decision. Once the note has been added, the purple Note button will revert to a red one, indicating that notes have been added for that particular area. Should you wish to edit your note, clicking on the red Notes Added button will take you back to the notes screen where you'll be able to edit your notes as applicable. The notes entered at this stage of the process will be carried through to the end and included within the final comparison report. It is also possible to edit, add or remove these notes at a later stage in the process before generating your final comparison report. The purpose of the initial report is to provide you with a summary of the providers who most closely meet the high-level requirements you previously selected and which you believe to be of most importance to you and your client. The first pie chart once again plays back to you a summary of the high-level areas you selected as well as the weightings you applied. The F&TRC benchmark illustrates how the providers you selected have performed against your chosen criteria based on F&TRC's own benchmarks. This graph is intended to provide you with a further comparison of providers based on F&TRC's in-house weightings. The main bar chart, Comparison of Potential Suppliers, identifies the top performing providers who achieve the better outcomes against your chosen criteria and who most closely meet your requirements. The initial report may be sufficient to some users. However, we would encourage you to continue with the comparison towards a more detailed report, whereby you will have the opportunity to refine your selections further for a more accurate comparison of potential providers. The next stage in the process allows you to allocate your report to a specific client. The drop-down box at the top left-hand corner of the screen will enable you to either select the name of an existing client or alternatively select New Organization if you have not yet created a report for that particular client. Once you have generated a report for a new client, the organization's name will automatically be saved under your user profile. This will allow you to allocate multiple comparison reports to a single organization and personalize the output report. The name of the organization that you have selected will appear on the front page of your final comparison report. The next stage in the process requires you to apply a further level of prioritization to your initial selection. The screen automatically lists the high-level areas selected in the previous stage and places them in a hierarchical order, with those with the highest weightings at the top, along with their initial weightings and any notes. Each of the high-level areas have been broken down into a smaller set of subsections. Following the same process as before, you are invited to allocate weightings to these subsections. A total weighting of 100 can be allocated to the subsections underneath each of the main high-level areas. It is not necessary to allocate a weighting to every single subsection. For example, it is possible to give one subsection a weighting of 100 and leave the rest with a weighting of 0. If you are unhappy with your weightings, the purple Reset button will allow you to clear the weightings you applied to your subsections and start again. Before producing the detailed comparison report, the system plays back to you once again a summary of the selections you have made. The first pie chart plays back to you the high-level areas and the weightings you applied. Each of the individual high-level areas is then played back to you along with the detailed subsections and their weightings. Finally, a summary of the providers whom you wish to compare is also played back to you. It is possible to refine either of these areas by clicking on the purple button below each box. As an example, I will go in and refine the list of providers we've selected and remove one of them. The system will then guide you through the same steps, bringing you back to the detailed overview screen. You might find that you are having to create multiple reports for the same organization. We would recommend that you utilize the boxes at the bottom of the detailed overview screen to differentiate your reports. The first box suggests that you name your report. It is important to remember here that you have already allocated an organization to your report and that the text that you put in this box will be displayed on the front page of your final output report. To further differentiate your report, you can also apply a description. In this example, I have listed the high-level areas that the organization decided were their top priorities. So that you don't have to start the report again, you are able to save your chosen high-level and detailed areas, their weightings, and any notes you applied as a template. You can then reuse the template for the same client, a different client, or even share the template with your colleagues. The system gives you the option to print a summary report, consisting of a 2-page Word document identifying the criteria you selected and providing you with your overall comparison results. Alternatively, you will have the option to print a detailed comparison report. On pressing this button, you'll be prompted to decide whether you want to include the data tables within your report. The data within these tables is the information that drives the comparison report. These data tables will directly reflect your chosen criteria and consist of all the underlying questions asked of the providers about their proposition. Not only does the final report provide you with a best match comparison, but it also offers you the opportunity to see exactly how the various providers have answered specific questions. In order to download and share a template with your colleague, you will firstly have needed to save one under your user profile. Starting on the home page, you'll need to select the specific module where that template was saved, followed by the actual product, and then the comparison option. From the three options in the middle of the screen, you'll need to select the second one, New Report from Template. Importantly, prior to selecting the Download Template button, you'll need to choose the correct template from the drop-down menu box below, followed then by the purple Download Template button. Once your template has fully downloaded to your computer, you can then save it as an XML file and either share it with your colleagues through your internal server or send it to them via email.
On the main homepage, you will need to select the relevant module, followed by the specific product you wish to compare, and then select the comparison option. From the three options in the center of the page, you will need to select the second one, New Report from Template. Clicking on the purple Upload Template button will bring up a pop-up box which will require you to then search for the relevant XML file which you previously saved to your computer. Once you've chosen the relevant XML file, go back then to advisorsoftware.com and click on the drop-down box underneath the title New Report from Template. The drop-down box will bring up a list of all the templates you have saved under that particular product, including the one you have just uploaded. Selecting the template that you want, followed by the Continue button, will take you through to the first stage of the process, whereby you'll be able to view and edit any of the high-level areas previously selected through the template.
From the left-hand menu bar, you'll need to select the relevant module, followed by the specific product, and then the training link. The screen will be populated with a number of different training modules, and which directly reflect those available to you through the comparison tool. Each module will earn you 30 minutes of CPD points towards your CII and PFS membership. Clicking on the purple box will take you through to the training content for that particular module. You should aim to allocate approximately 30 minutes of your time to each module. The training material, and in some cases a case study, will follow, from which a selection of multiple choice questions are asked. You will need to answer all questions correctly before passing the module. On completion of each training module, the system will generate an email to your registered email address confirming that you have completed the specific training module, the training outcomes and objectives, and that you have completed 30 minutes of CPD. Should you want to forward a copy of this email to somebody else, for example your compliance officer, you can enter their email address in the box provided at the bottom of the screen. Thank you.